Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Maybe you are aware that there are protests in China against the COVID lockdowns. And the protests turned violent. And when they turn violent, the government ups its game. A strong government, that is. Because during riots and violence, property is destroyed, people are hurt on both sides, and people who are innocent, bystanders, if there's such a thing. The thing is, you have Western countries that they support the government violent crackdown of a riot or a violent protest. They are for it if they occur in the Western countries. If they occurred in a country that is not a friendly country, then when the government tries to impose, order, as they do in the Western countries, that's wrong. They should just let them do what they do and just quit the job. So let the protester change the regime. But somehow this is only valid in those countries, not in these countries where democracy and the will of the people should, reign supreme. If you remember this weasel, Justin Trudeau, he, invoked those special emergency powers in Canada for the trucker convoy. There was no violence, zero violence. He showed up in front of a commission and he defended his Weasel Act decisions by saying that he did it because something would have happened. What if something would have happened? He had to. Something would have. Preemptive strike, basically. Right? So that's a principle that I spoke about in another video. And this is what he did before anything happened, Trudeau. Now things, COVID lockdown protest turned violent in China. Will Mr. Trudeau support the Chinese government crackdown on the violent protesters? Will he be okay if the communist leader of Xi Jinping, that just got him by the ear in front of everyone at G20, remember? Telling that, hey, boy, go back in the classroom, and when I go over there, you stand up and you give me your homework, okay? And you go at the blackboard and you start working, okay? And Trudeau started saying that in our democracies and freedom and people are so good, but me. So he was bullshitting. Now, will he do what he said that he will do? What he did actually, which is help the government crack down on violence? He acted like a tyrant that he is, without the violence being there, just of the thought of that it might turn violent. That was his argumentation. What if someone would have died? What if someone would have become violent? What if this? I acted preemptively. Okay. So you remember, Justin Trudeau said, well, what if something would have happened? I had to intervene, that's my goal. That was his justification. With nothing happened. But he said, you know what, I'm going to do it. He used the precautionary principle. Precautionary principle is, I'm going to do something because something else might happen. But in order to do that, that you think will happen must cross a certain point, a threshold, that you have the evidence that it's gonna happen. It's not like because guys, I wanna make sure that you are safe, you all have to stay inside your houses. No one travels on weekends because accidents happen and I don't want anybody to die. So I'm gonna sign an order here that all of you stay inside of your houses all day, Saturday and Sundays from now on. That's precautionary principle. Acted, put in a practiced by a tyrant like Trudeau. So I wonder if Trudeau now is going to call Xi Jinping and going to say, hey, do you need any help? We can send some, I don't know, some troops, some guys with the batons and beat the shit out of the Chinese population and then block their accounts and then check them, arrest them and so on and disperse them. Is he going to do that? I guarantee you he will not. But I tell you what he's going to do. He's going to denounce that. He's going to denounce the crackdown of free society and people's right of free speech and expression. I fucking guarantee you that's what he's going to do. I'm waiting. And if you find anything, then I'm guaranteeing you that you're going to find that. Trudeau coming in front and the cameras and talking, trying to throw a few jabs to his friend Xi Jinping, who called him out in front of the cameras at G20. You know that one, right? So this is what happens with weasels, with no principles. And he's not going to have even the, how should I say, the tact. I want to say something else, but no. The tact to keep his mouth shut. He will not keep his mouth shut. He will come out and he will say something. Why? Because that's how democracy works. Because he thinks, and he, for good reason, he's going to score some points with the idiots that don't see the whole thing and say, wait a minute, you fucked those guys up in Ottawa and in Windsor, wasn't it? Canada. And now you tell these guys that do the same thing as you do, hey, freedom of expression. But obviously I'm anticipating right now because I think I know the weasel good enough, the organism good enough to anticipate what is what's his next move gonna be. And it's not hard. I'm not a genius in this, but I think it's just the natural course and behavior of this kind of people. And I guarantee you that Biden will show up and others will show up. These guys who took care of certain kind of rioters but did not take care of other rioters because it was politically convenient to allow those rioters destroy things in Minnesota and other areas in Oregon, remember? And in Portland, Oregon, and so on. Remember those riots where they say, well, it's okay, man, don't intervene. Trump, don't intervene, you're Nazi. The stormtroopers. Trump used the stormtroopers. No, let them do that, right? So those guys now we're going to say, no, you're going to intervene. No, you intervene over there, what's going on? Remember, now they tell the Iranian government not to do anything about what's going on over there. Is it out of hand? Yes. Is it because a 22-year-old died? Yes. In certain kind of conditions that we're not certain of. And even if she died because of those idiots, okay, you don't do that. You try to overthrow a whole government for that. Where's that little, there must be something else behind it. And the Iranians said who is behind it. It's people are unhappy with certain things, like anywhere else, including the United States or Canada or other free countries. Okay? But to escalate and continue day after day for that reason, I don't believe it. And guess what these guys did here? Hey, what's going on? You do, oh my God, you go and beat the protesters. They're not protesters anymore. They were at the beginning, and then it turned into something else. A little attempt to change the regime. That's what it is. Plain and simple. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.